Candice, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Janine Hernandez TV show. Today, I am so excited because I have Miss Candice Thibodeaux, who is an author, a speaker, an all-over entrepreneur joining us today, and she's going to talk to us about her book. So thank you so much for joining us, Candice.
Thank you for having me, Janine. This is awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yes, girl. So I was so excited when we connected because your book is just powerful. I haven't had the opportunity yet to read it, but I know that you're going to impact so many people. So tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about yourself. What do you do and about your book?
Absolutely. Yes. So hello, everyone out there. My name is Candice Thibodeaux. I am a business and mindset strategist. And people come to me when they're looking for their next level push. I recently became an author. I pre-released my book on November 6th of 2020. And I'm so excited that now we have the official launch, and it has been available since January 8th of 2021. So I'm all for mindset. I'm all for women entrepreneurs, men out there as well. I also give you credit, but women have been in the lead doing our thing. And that's what I stand for. And I'm really excited just to be here to talk to another lady boss, Miss Janine Hernandez. So thank you.
Yes, girl, that is awesome. So tell us a little bit more about the book. It's currently on Amazon, right?
Correct. As of January 8th, has it been officially released on Amazon. So the book is called Core 3 Steps to Reshape Your Mind for a Better Future. And it's a journey of personal growth and development, but also like reshaping my mind as an entrepreneur. So I start off and I talk a little bit about some mental barriers that has stopped me from reaching certain goals or certain achievements that I really desired in my heart, but mentally I wasn't prepared for. And those mental barriers were like low self-esteem, the lack of confidence. I had trouble with anxiety and depression for like almost 2 years, like as I'm journeying to become an author. And I kind of walk my readers through that process on what it looks like. And we start off with authenticity. The first step to reshaping your mind is just to be truly authentic with yourself, so that way you know what's stopping you. A lot of times we're going after our goals and we're like, yes, it's so exciting. You are becoming the first multimillionaire in your family, multi-billionaire, and you don't know what those money strategies look like, or you don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur day in and day out, the ups and downs and how to handle those things. You can kind of like feel discouraged. So I had to look in the mirror, and that mirror work was very important for me, becoming an entrepreneur as well as an author. And so I take my readers through that authenticity stage, overcoming those barriers, revisiting my childhood traumas that I'm like, wow, I didn't realize those left an imprint on my life as an adult. Then I took it a step further, which is step 2 in the process, which is awareness, where I became the observer. And I can say, hey, I noticed this about you, Candice. Why are you not working to your maximum potential? Why are you not doing these things? And then what can we do to work on that mental shift to get you to where you need to be or where you desire to be? And I talk about how it's very important to do that, because you cannot put affirmations and all these things on top of baggage. And I go into that, uprooting those things that we were programmed to believe, and uprooting those, but then forgetting about them, because a lot of times during my journey, you spend time dwelling like, man, and you have like this self-pity party, and we got to get out of that in order to be who we desire to be. And then I go into step 3, which is the application of knowledge. And I go through all of the things that I've learned throughout my journey, from books to podcasts, listening to powerful speakers and entrepreneurs, and implementing their principles, but then also adopting them as my own philosophies. And then moving forward past that to then now becoming an entrepreneur, but to now becoming a published author. And also during my pre-launch, I was able to hit 4 figures in book sales within the first 9 days, which was totally like mind-blowing for me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is something that I used to be very hesitant or scared to do. But here I am, and I'm doing it, and I'm more confident, more powerful, and I'm just very excited for 2021 and beyond.
Wow. Okay. So this book, if you guys are listening or viewing, this book is amazing. So not only do you walk them through the 3 steps, but you give them the tools necessary to be able to apply what they're learning as well, which is amazing. So in the book, do you give examples as well, like on things that you maybe have gone through?
Absolutely, yes. So in the book, I talk about impact journaling, and it's actually a term that I developed as far as like what it looks like to actually sit down with yourself and strategize, and sit down and say, hey, these are things that I need to overcome. And I've given examples for my mom was a super perfectionist, so everything was like sit up straight, don't get dirty, like all these things that I didn't know that being a perfectionist, there's nothing wrong with wanting to operate in excellence. But when you're in the level of perfectionism, you can kind of like keep yourself stagnant because you're not executing, because you want to be perfect in certain areas. So I give that example as one. And I also list a lot of other things just to like relate to my readers, because I'm sure all of us have a story. We all have something that has stopped us, or someone in our life who has programmed us to believe something that is not parallel to our visions or our dreams. So I give that as an example, and I walk our readers through our impact journaling process, what that looks like. And I also give space in the back of the book so that way they can jot things down as they read.
Wow. Okay. So this journal, is it something that they need to purchase on the side, or is it just a method that you teach them how to journal?
It's a method, and I teach them how to journal. And in journaling, again, it's not a new thing. We've been writing since the beginning of time. But I also realized that if it's journaling with a purpose, and I know that we all have a reason to like dump our thoughts on paper, be our feelings out on paper, but this is actually a strategy to go from that level to the next, and what that looks like. Because the personal growth and development books that I've read, they were awesome, they were incredible, but it's like, okay, these are new philosophies that I wasn't always aware of, and I didn't, and that's not in agreement with my belief system, right? So I had to shift my beliefs, as well as my thoughts, and really hone in on that. And that took a lot of time. So I say, don't rush the process. And impact journaling is a lifetime thing. I plan to not stop with impact journaling, which each new level, you become a different person. And that requires a different level of impact journaling.
It is so true. I personally love to journal, but I'm also a writer. I love to write. I'm an author. So journaling is a great way to jot down your thoughts, your ideas, your insecurities, walk yourself through growth situations. It's a really good tool to have. So who is this book for?
This book is for the dreamer, the doer, the person that's out there who is thinking of a plan but doesn't know where to start. If you're starting off on your personal growth and development journey, this is for you. If you're a business owner and you feel stuck and you don't know what your next level looks like, I encourage you to get core, to reshape your mind for a better future. Everyone's in a different space. And I think that that's where my book is a respecter of each of us being in our own space. But it's for that person who wants to go to the next level, who doesn't know where to start, and who is looking for someone to hold their hand along the way. Because I give my life examples, I believe in my heart that you will feel way more connected. We'll connect through the pages. And I'm also available. I did leave my social media handle on the name here. So if you want to reach out and say, hey, what did you mean by this in your book? I'm very open to answering all questions, so that way we can all move forward to that better future that we're looking for.
I love it. So I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I just had an idea. I'm like, you totally could do masterminds or master classes just
Yeah.
based off of the principles that you're teaching in your book, because there's so many people that need this, and maybe might read the book and be like, okay, I get it, but I need more guidance. So Candice, can you guide me? I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but that just came to my mind. I'm like, you totally can, take it to that next level with this.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that, Janine. I have mentors who are actually working with me to create this coaching program to do that, because I realized that there is a need, and there are people who have asked me to mentor them, and I'm like, hey, I never thought of it in that way, but since there is a need for it, why not fill it? So thank you.
Yes, awesome. I love it. Love it. So I wanted to take it back just a little bit. When did you realize that you wanted to write a book? Is it something that you've always thought about since maybe you were little? Or like, what was that moment that happened where you were like, I need to write this book?
Yeah. So in December of 2018, I always say like God gives me like divine downloads like he does for all of us. He put on my heart to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, me, write a book? Like, oh my gosh. And at that time, I'm like, Candice, like I had all of these like imposter syndrome thoughts, like all of these thoughts of like, you are not even like, you don't have a doctoral degree. You don't have all these things. Why are you going to write a book? Right. So I spent a lot of time brainstorming and just saying, you know what, this is a thought, because every thought that I get, if it's a good idea, bad idea, I just write it down. It doesn't matter if, whatever, because you can use it later. So I wrote it down. I started brainstorming. 2019, I started to map it out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm really doing this. But so many like life events started to like hit me, like my parents, my brother, like all these things, as life would have it, right? Whenever you're going after something amazing, you start to get all of these barriers, all of these obstacles coming your way. So I'm like, why is this happening? So it's all about timing. So 2019, I mapped everything out. 2020, I'm at work, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. And I'm like, wow, this is an opportunity. So many people are struggling mentally. We talk about mental health, and I think I highlight that in my book as well. And I'm like, wow, what a time such as this for me to finish what I've started, so that way so I can help and serve someone bigger than myself. So I decided to finish out. I started to reach out to certain people online, finished my book. And when I got the book in my hand and I have it here, I'm like, this is real. Like, this is like the real deal. And then not only that, I literally was like, wow, I hope that this touches one person. That's all I thought. I'm like, if it just touches one, I did my job. And I know we hear that a lot, like when people are up and coming. When I launched the pre-sale and I hit the first 4 figures, I was like, wait a minute. Whoa. And then when I received reviews on how real and how people cried and laughed and felt so connected to go after their dreams, I'm like, oh yeah, we have something here. And I know that this will not be the end. I know that there's another book inside of, I know just like you knew that there's another book inside of you. I've seen you, I watched you, Janine. So I'm like, she started off, I think it was a children's book from what I remember. And then
that was actually my second book. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there's more than one. I feel it inside of me. I just don't know what it is next. So that's how the journey commenced, and that's where I am today.
I love it. Love it. Throughout your writing process, did you ever have any fears or doubts, or did you ever question yourself, like, am I really doing this?
Fears, yes. Doubts, after a while, no. Doubts, I think I overcame those throughout my impact journaling process. But fears, because when you're an author, there's a level of vulnerability, especially if you really want your readers to understand where you come from and also to connect with them. So that level of vulnerability did spark some fear. And it said in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm really telling this story about my family, about this to the world, essentially. But I knew that it's bigger than me. So I had to move past that and say, Candice, it's not about you. So no matter what, you sharing this, you're sharing it with a purpose. A lot of times you hear people talk about vulnerabilities and they want to, I call it pimping your pain, where you just want to say your pain out loud to people for no reason. But if you're using your pain story to tell people how you overcame, now you're in servant leadership. Now you're in a place where you can serve people so that they can see that they can do it too. And that's, I would say that's where the fear kicked in. But I overcame it by saying that there's someone out there who needs this.
Yes, I love how you overcame that. And so can you share with us maybe a story from your book? Just a little bit. Give the listeners and the viewers just a little bit of your book, maybe something that you mention in there.
Yeah, I go back to my childhood, and I would say like a middle school story where we were on the bus and we were like, kids were like bullying other kids, and I found myself feeling like that level of insecurity because of the thoughts that my mom would teach me, like, oh my God, you got to make sure that you're on point with everything. And I remember like wanting to stick up for the kids being bullied, but I didn't have the self-confidence to say like, hey, that's not right, whatever that may be. And I remember I remember going home that day and talking to my parents about it. And as an adult now, I see like, injustice is happening in the world, and it's not, it may not be that on that scale of bullying, but bullying still happens even in the corporate world, even in business. And you have to have a level of tough skin. So I think that lesson as a child has brought me and catapulted me to be the woman I am today, to say, I'm going to walk in boldness, and I am going to say, you scoop my seat up to this table and we're going to talk about these things, or I'm going to create my own table and y'all are going to want to be part of this anyway, because I no longer have that fear, and I've overcame that level of like overthinking, I call it, from my childhood. So that's just one story that I touch base on.
Wow, that's so impactful too. That's awesome that you share that in the book, because a lot of people will relate to that. There's certain things that we might go through in our life that we might read in a book and we're like, wow, I can relate to that, or I can, the author really wrote it in a way that resonates with me. So that's super, super dope.
Yeah.
So quick question, what's next for you besides writing books? Is there anything else that you're working on, or what do you see in the future for yourself?
Yes. I definitely believe that self-care is essential. So right now, in a couple of days from now, I will be launching my very first self-care line. And I just stay tuned onto my social media. I can't give all the details here, but it's going to be definitely something that I thought of that I think is important for those of us out there who are looking to have that luxury self-care experience. And that's coming up for me next. So.
Yes, I love it. Do you see yourself speaking at events or, panel discussions? There's just so much that you could do around your book.
Yeah, I have a few speaking engagements coming up this summer.
That's awesome.
Which is like, public speaking has also been another fear of mine that I'm overcoming. But when you see me speak, know that I'm doing it. So my thing is to always be authentic and vulnerable. Right. I'm not a person to paint a picture of perfection, but just to show you that, look, I'm human just like you, and I'm doing it, and I believe that you can too. And nothing is stopping you but you. So go out there and get it. It is 2021. What better way to launch your year by believing in yourself and going after all of the dreams that you've always had inside of your heart?
Yes, that's awesome. I love it, love it, love it. See, you're going to do great being a motivational speaker, being an author as a speaker. You're already impacting me. And I'm like, this is going to be great for all of the listeners and all of the viewers. You're going to want to follow Candice. It's Candice_the plug. So where can our listeners and viewers get your book if they're interested in getting it? And if they're interested in connecting with you, is Instagram the best way to reach you?
You can definitely go through Instagram, but I also have my website, www.candicetothecore.com. And I also, my book is available on Amazon right now. Go out there and get it. Let's run it up. I'm so excited about it. And let me know once you're done reading, what are your thoughts? What are some things I'm open to? Feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. That's how we become better as a community. So definitely reach out. And I'm also available through DMs, but make sure you just, make sure you're nice. If you're mean about it, I'm not going to respond. But if you're like, hey, what's going on? You'll get a response from me, definitely.
I love that. Make sure that you guys also leave some reviews on her Amazon. That would be great. What is a last minute word that you would like to leave our listeners and our viewers if they are listening today?
You have everything that you ever thought of, dreamed of right inside of you. We are all creators. God created all of us. I'm a believer, and my intention is not to push my beliefs on you, but it is in a sense, because God is amazing. You are creator. Whatever's inside of you, you already have. We oftentimes take these courses, listen to people like me even, and we're looking for something outside of ourselves when it's right there inside of you. Dig deep, do that inner work, that introspection, that impact journaling. And I cannot wait to see you on the other side of those barriers that you're holding yourself back with. So just go out there and get it. And I look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, thank you so much, Candice, for being on the Janine Hernandez TV show today. Guys, if you're listening or if you are viewing, make sure that, like I said, you follow Candice, leave a review, get her book, first of all, leave a review. And with anything, make sure that you comment, subscribe, like, share, do all of that great stuff. Share it with friends if this has inspired you. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Janine. I appreciate you.